Hello, this is For the Record, a series of conversations amongst the faculty of the University of the Philippines School of Library and Information Studies. Joining me again this week are Iyra Buenrostro-Cabbab, our archives faculty member, Dan Anthony Dorado, our digital scholar, and Janny Surmieda, our digital humanities faculty. Again, I'm Nathan Isip, and in each episode of For the Record, we look at issues and experiences with records in our everyday life. This episode is particularly relevant today as a lot of schools and universities are having their graduation ceremonies. Ceremonies are particularly important in this day and age of a pandemic because a lot of these ceremonies, which used to be physical, have been usually disrupted by the lockdown. So it's worth exploring the ways we engage with these rituals and ceremonies. So graduation, for example, what exactly does graduation mean to someone? Is it really more just going on stage and receiving a certificate? So I know Jan and Iyra, you have your certificates with you right now. What do those certificates mean to you exactly?
Actually, this one is from my master's degree as I finish my master's degree in SLIS. So for us librarian, the concept of authenticity derives from the concept of our authenticity derives from our concept of evidence, and as librarians in what we call primary source. So for me, this piece of document or this artifact is basically my proof na I was able to finish my master's degree.
So when you say it's the proof that you were able to finish your master's degree, it's not so much just the moment of finishing, but the whole ordeal it would take it. So how many years it took, the blood
Yes.
and sweat and tears of writing a dissertation, and so on. So it's evidencing not just the moment of going on stage, not just the moment of receiving the certificate, but rather the entire journey of studying.
It's like uh, it's like the final seat or the final step, the final seal that will give you your degree, that will merit your educational achievement, the capstone actually.
And especially in Philippine culture, it's not just your achievement, it's the achievement of the village, of the entire village. So, which is why when you have a graduation ceremony, you bring your parents, you bring your grandparents, you bring your neighbors, and so on. It's that witnessing by these people that highlights your triumph, shall we say.
And even in some provinces they hang your certificate in their house. They gave you a tarpaulin in front of your gate. They give tarpaulin and EDSA just showing that you finish your course or you passed the board exam, the bar exam, or whatever.
Did you have it? Did you have
No,
it?
I don't have now.
Did your
Actually, I
parents?
did not announce that I was about to get my diploma in my master's degree in MLS. The only ones who knew that was my parents and syempre my wife. And they're all their reason. Sabi ko sa iba, bahala kayo. It's not for you to know. It's for me to tell anyone who I want them to know.
But Ira, you were talking about your um, NTU certificate in our previous episode and talking about how you actually received it months before the actual ceremony.
Because Singaporeans are really efficient. They always want to fast track everything. So I think they're thinking about their graduates who would be applying for jobs already after defending their thesis or after finishing all the requirements. So we were issued a certificate, an electronic certificate um, that states that we had already completed our requirements. Then, other than that, we also received our diploma. So here's our certificate. Very minimalist, right? And yeah, but this certificate was given to us like months before without the cover. So it was only put inside the an envelope like this. So it was during the convocation or the graduation ceremony when the folder the folder was given to us.
Is that
So
acid free though?
I haven't tested it with pH strips. Maybe I should try it once I have a set of pH strips with me. And then so during the convocation rites, so this was given to us without the diploma inside. So what's inside was just this piece of paper, Doctor of Philosophy, la 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 la. And then our records show that you have collected the following transcript and then the degree certificate. Because, yeah, so we call it degree certificate. Because when I claimed the degree certificate, this one, they also gave this to me, my transcript, my one-page transcript, very minimalist, right? So that's it. And then aside from this one, so just months earlier, we were given a login key or something where we could download our transcript form, but only for a limited time. Then after that, we should be asking, or we should be requesting for another copy of our transcript aside from this. So that's it. So that these are my evidence that I really finished my PhD, aside from my academic gown. Would you like to see it? And my panadero hat. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, since you mentioned your academic regalia, we see that when we think of records, it's not just pieces of paper. It's not just particular certificates, for example, that form the record of a particular event or activity. It's all about the way we engage in a particular ceremony, the way we participate in the particular ritual. So even the concept of academic regalia is manifested differently in different cultures as appropriate to their traditions. The University of the Philippines have our sablay, which thankfully is way less hotter or much more cooler than if you were wearing an academic gown, especially in the hot and humid Philippine weather. But what makes these rituals so important? What makes these ceremonial acts so important? Why not just, all right, you finish your degree, I'll send you your certificate in the post, and then, all right, go apply for a job and see you soon. Why
Actually,
go to that entire ritual?
Like for example, in an online course wherein after you finish a course, you just get a diploma and that's it. Why, what's with all the fanfare?
well, I guess, I attended, of course, the convocation and the hooding ceremonies. Actually, talking about ceremonies, previously there was only one ceremony, like a convocation ceremony per school in our university. And then during our time, there was a separate ceremony for hooding. Because the academic regalia, aside from the long gown, there's a hood. And then I think they followed the American tradition of putting the hood over the graduate's head as a welcome ceremony to the scholarly world, to the world of academia. So it is the supervisor or someone who is higher than you who would put the hood over your head. So it's rather ceremonial. It's not really needed actually, but it's rather ceremonial that would really give you a good feeling that, oh yeah, finally I finished this. So going back to Jonathan's point that once you finish your degree, you get your diploma, you get your certificate, it's not like the end of a journey, but it's rather a representation of all the things that you had to go through throughout your journey. I mean, that's why your people have this tendency to really put so much weight on attending these rituals because it's again a symbolic act it's a representation of who you are as a person, or who you have become, right? As an academia, part of the academia, or as a professional, for instance.
I think having a solid document or supply somehow gives us the feeling of originality or genuineness. It's a validation of the experience that we took. Diba? It's like the culminating point. It gives you, this is your, this is for what you have done, for what you have experienced.
And in some instances, participating in the ritual or the act might be more important than the record itself. For example, when signing a petition, it's the classic example in literature. When you're signing a petition, it's not so much the resulting petition, but rather the act of signing and the act of joining in a protest, for example, that's more important, that indicates the sentiment of the people joining in that act rather than the resulting document or the resulting movement.
I think it's also a form of validation from those who are witnessing the event. Like, you don't need to bring your diploma all the time, but if you see someone or if they ask someone that was also there in the event, they will say na, yeah, he's part of the graduating class. She's part of the graduating class. So
I remember, Ma'am Iyra, uh, you you invited your whole family to go to Singapore.
Because it was expensive to bring the entire family to Singapore. And yeah, and I had to stay there for a week because there were two ceremonies, the hooding and the actual convocation. So it's pretty expensive to stay in a hotel for a week, right? So much more in Singapore. But of course, actually, originally, I really did not want them to come to my convocation because for me, it's all done, right? I mean, this is the point that you just want to get it over and done with. But again, it's a ritual. It's a social act where people participate in because they think that this is a very it's like reaching a milestone more than the actual diploma or the actual certificate that you're receiving. It's experiencing a milestone in your life that you want to share it with the people who are really close to you. So it's like when for example, you get married, Janny, yeah, diba? So when you, parang di pa tayo sure. Okay, so when you, Janny, diba? When you sign your marriage contract, it's an agreement between you and the other party, and then there were also witnesses, right? Your ninong and ninang, and also the officiating priest or the officiating person who, who did the ceremony. So there were witnesses. I mean, you are sharing that particular ritual, that social act with other people who could be considered as the social or active agents in a particular event. So I think that's how we can explain why people attend ceremonies or why people attend graduation or recognition rites or even weddings.
People just need validation.
Actually, yes, and this kind of validation through public means, right? It really had a long history, right? I mean, even during the times of antiquities and medieval ages, kunyari may papatayin nga, di ba? May bibitayan, it will be done publicly. Di ba? May guillotine. It would be done publicly. Or even in the Bible, when Pontius Pilate, right? When nagawa siya ng decision, it was also done publicly. He did not do it alone. So that kind of witnessing, that kind of participation in a ceremony as a social act, it has a very long history and it has been there. So yung act of the act of signing, probably it's just an added layer of validation. that a certain event really happened or really took place between parties.
So again, as we keep saying, records are highly contextual. And when talking about the instances of creation, for example, when considering provenance, it's not just about who created a record, but rather why was it created, in what context, in what social cultural aspect, temporal context, and so on. And it's really important to consider this when evaluating the significance of records, especially when you are distantiated from the actual event that led to the creation of the record. Siyempre may influences pa ng records continuum na tapos you know,
How about you, Dan? So what was your feeling? Or how did you feel when you finished your master's?
I think I share what you have experienced when you graduated. It is not the end of a particular journey, but it's just another. If I'm talking about game terminology, it's an achievement unlock. But for every achievement, there is another achievement that you need to satisfy. It's just a milestone. It's just another stage that I just finished. But after that stage, you know for a fact that there is another stage that you have to go through and finish eventually.
Yeah, I was once told by another professor who happened to be one of my panelists or examiners, thesis examiners, because he saw me that I was so tired doing my PhD thesis, and then he told me, "Oh, it's okay. You will surely survive. Just treat your PhD or even your dissertation as your passport to get out of this place." So I was like, oh, it's a good motivation, right? Really want to go home. And also and it was so funny because he also used another vital record, which is a passport, to represent something that that would be a key for you to finish something else. So okay, so it's a passport that will bring you to a lot of new places or other places, and then finishing a degree, finishing your thesis would be like your passport to go to other places as well. So I know. So okay.
that actually reminds me of one of my favorite definitions of a record by Tom Nesmith. Well, he talks about records as evolving mediations of our understanding of some social phenomena. It doesn't really matter what the record is, but rather what that record stands for. So the phenomenon or the event or the activity that resulted in the creation of that record. And the meaning embedded in the record is not so much intrinsic to that record, but rather um, intrinsic to the human experience. So you mentioned in our previous episode the acts of negotiation that you engage in when creating these records and engaging in the activity.
Yes, and aside from the intrinsic meaning and the experience that you associate with the records, or the experience that brings about the record, it's also the way or how you perceive the record in due time. Because when you look at your diploma or even your thesis, right after you finish it or right after you get the final copy, you're like, oh my God, I am so happy. And then 3-5 years after, I'm not sure if you will still have the same affectual interaction with that record that you once treasured and you cried over, right? So it's different. It's continuously evolving. The experience is there, of course. The record is there, but the way you interact with the records, it's continuously changing.
And it's not just a temporal meaning, is it? So, for example, you still have that affect with your graduate certificate, but then if you send it to an employer, for them it's just a piece of paper saying, "Oh, okay, fine, you have a PhD. So what?"
Yeah.
So completely different meanings to different people, even if and in different contexts as well.
Oh, just like the diplomas, the laminated diplomas, right? So you think it's so precious. That it's so precious. You even put your photo in it, and then you laminated it. And then if other people would see it, like, why did you do it? I mean, yeah, I know it's so precious to you, but really, yeah, so it really varies, right? So
I think the reason why we invite other people with in the ceremonies is because they were also part of the journey that you've been through. They were the ones who supported you. They are the ones who understand that you can't meet them for a party. They are the ones who understand that you can join them for dinner. And as a conservation of the support that they had given you, you invite them in the ceremonies to thank them and to appreciate the effort that they have given to you in reaching that particular milestone.
and also when you're
And
attending events or the ceremonies, whether it's they're physical or whether they're done online, these events are a good representation of the all your sufferings and success and all the good memories at the same time, because this particular event, this ceremony would evoke so much emotions, right? Emotions, whether it's good or bad, but it's a symbolic act again, like a record. It's a symbolic act that would remind you all the time that, okay, I attended this because it's the culmination of what I've done for the past how many years. So for the class of 2020, congratulations. We're all happy that you have achieved this milestone. You're done with your undergraduate and master's degrees. And then again, your certificates or the kind of recognition that you would be receiving is like a passport that would bring you to a lot of good places. So it will open a lot of doors for you. And even though you're really wanting to have a physical graduation or a physical recognition rights, it's okay. Don't worry, because having a virtual recognition rights or a virtual graduation doesn't diminish the value of a physical or an actual graduation. So kumbaga, iba lang tayo ng means of recognizing all your efforts. So you go and celebrate with your family and friends virtually. And then, yeah, so this is your moment. Again, the recognition, the receiving of your diploma and your certificates, whether they're online or physical, it's a rather symbolic act that everyone really treasures, including us, your teachers, your former professors.
So again, congratulations, class of 2020.
Congratulations!
congrats!
Congratulations.
Wala akong sunflower dito, sayang. Congratulations! From the bottom of our recorded heart.
So to the class of 2020, congratulations. This has been For the Record. For the Record is brought to you by UPSLIS. Find out more about the school on our website at upslis.info. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more fun conversations on archives and records. See you soon!
Congrats!